Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch. Premier Stelmach unveils a highly anticipated new project.
This is a very complex project. The Minister will be sending out the qualifications for those that want to participate.
Alberta Healthcare steps up to help women suffering from breast cancer.
He said, I just wanted to let you know that this has been approved, that it will be covered for all women in Alberta.
One of Edmonton's most beloved attractions is honored by RV West magazine.
Really, time stands still when you come down here, and you really are living anywhere from 100 to 150 years ago.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening. A local St. Albert man is safe after a trialing escape from Libya.
Libyan people have been protesting for their democracy against the government. For more on that story, our Daryl Hutchings joins us live from the newsroom.
People have been protesting for their basic freedoms, and with the situation in Libya changing by the minute, many Canadians still in the country want out. One St. Albert man is happy to be home and safe. Days of worry and unrest were over for Nada as she watched her husband walk through the arrivals gate at Edmonton International Airport. Grant was back in the arms of his family after fleeing a country fighting for change. For the last 14 years, Grant has spent half of his time in Libya working on a site near the capital city of Tripoli.
We actually got word from the company to shut the facility down, and when we got that word, we thought something serious.
People in Libya have been fighting against the regime of Muammar Gaddafi. With her eyes glued to the television coverage of Libya, Nada said she didn't worry until she heard threats to bomb the oil rigs. Her heart stopped, and all she could do was cry.
From there on, I kept thinking, okay, now he's not safe anymore. He's not safe anymore. He's got to get out. We've got to do something to get him out.
After a long bus ride and chaotic plane ride into Tripoli, Grant's company got them transportation to the ferry in hopes of fleeing to nearby Malta.
We thought it would be easy to get on. The guys told us, you're not on the list, you can't go. So we were panicking, arguing with them, said, you got to get the three of us out now, because now we're in Tripoli, there's nowhere else to go. We want to go by water.
Now that Grant is home, he has turned his thoughts back to Libya and the people.
Concerns and prayers now are with the Libyan people, and I have a lot of friends there, and I hope that, this all settles out and they find a solution to it and life gets back to normal there, because the people are fantastic.
The Catherine is safer right now. They're going to spend some quality time with friends and family.
So will Grant be returning to Libya for work anytime soon?
Well, I can tell you his wife helped answer that question, and they say they're going to be looking for employment right here in Alberta.
So for Canadians with families still in Libya that want to get out, what can they do?
Defense Minister Peter MacKay is calling it the Give Us a Shout, We'll Get You Out plan. He's asking Canadians with family members in Libya to contact Foreign Affairs with their exact location, and then they will contact the military to help get them out.
Thanks, Daryl. That's Daryl Hutchings reporting live from our news center tonight.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
Post-secondary institutions were watching closely as the 2011-2012 provincial budget was released on February 24th.
The province is promising to spend $3 billion on advanced education, a number that's decreased slightly from the $3.2 billion in last year's budget. Our Caitlin Dalbingen joins us from NAIT with that story.
Thank you. The post-secondary budget for this year is basically staying the same as it was last year. The slight decrease that we see reflects the completion of some capital projects.
Post-secondary schools have been expecting and preparing for this budget since the fall.
In terms of where the province is at fiscally, we feel that that's an appropriate measure, and that's one that we're going to be working within.
The province also announced the suspension of the Access to the Future Fund, a program to match private donations to schools.
NAIT relied on about $3 million in matching funding from the government per year. And so, this will put a hold for 2 years on those matching funds.
Advanced Education says there are plans to revisit the fund in 2013.
The money is being reallocated this year to focus on our priorities and our core spending in terms of funding, grant funding for institutions.
Other changes in the budget include adjustments to the student loan remission program. As of August 2011, students must complete and not simply leave a program to be eligible. NAIT student Stephanie Kuster, who is paying for school through a student line of credit, thinks these changes could actually benefit students.
To me, I find the people that really want to go will go anyways, and it might just cut down on some of the people that are going to university to party or just to have fun.
Overall, grants and bursaries have seen a decrease in the 2011 budget, but there is a $7 million increase in Alberta student loans.
Thanks, Caitlin. That's Caitlin Dalbigan reporting from NAIT.
The Anthony Hen Day is about to come full circle. Premier Ed Stelmach announced Wednesday that the construction of the Anthony Hen Day Drive Northeast has been approved. It is expected to be one of the largest infrastructure projects in Alberta's history. The project features 27 kilometers of 6 to 8 lane divided roadway, 8 interchanges, and 47 total bridge structures.
It's going to take a lot of pressure off Yellowhead Freeway, for instance, White Mud to a degree. We're ready, and by that time, Anthony Hen Day West will be free flow. All the infrastructure, the interchanges will be completed. So we'll have a complete free flow ring road around the city of Edmonton by 2016.
The Hen Day is going to be funded by a P3 or public-private partnership. The cost of the project has yet to be determined.
The city is looking forward to a considerable increase in the infrastructure budget for the 2011-2012 fiscal year. The city will receive $165 million for various infrastructure projects through the province's Municipal Sustainability Initiative. This is an increase of $10 million from last year. Some key projects planned for the year include construction of the Southwest Division Police Station, the widening of 137th Avenue, and the Dawson Bridge rehabilitation. Edmonton has received $568 million from the Municipal Sustainability Initiative since 2007. Some examples of past city projects include the Ellerslie Fire Station and the Edmonton Police Service Headquarters rehabilitation.
A large portion of the city's fire crews responded to an Alberta Avenue fire this week. Early Tuesday morning, crews battled a fire that reduced a vacant building to rubble on 118th Ave and 94th Street. The 2-alarm fire had crews out fighting the blaze for hours in -40 conditions. A city bus was even sent to the site to help keep the firefighters warm. It is believed that no one was in the building at the time of the fire. Officials have yet to confirm a cause.
An Edmonton woman has been given a second chance after having her cancer treatment covered by the Alberta government. After battling stage 4 breast cancer since January of 2010 and having to pay $4,000 a month for her treatment, Kelly Ma has been given some support in her fight against the disease. Ma has been a big advocate of the drug Tykerb since being diagnosed.
Sometimes I used to think that I was worth more dead than alive, and now I don't think that way anymore. So I really have an opportunity to resume my normal life, and I'm very optimistic of the future.
The drug has been approved for $750,000 a year, which is expected to cover the treatment for about 48 women in Alberta.
It's time to show some love to the biggest organ in your body. March is Liver Health Month, and the Canadian Liver Foundation is out to raise awareness and educate people on liver health through booths, fundraising campaigns, and television ads. Fatty liver disease is now the fastest growing illness and can affect anyone, even people as young as 5. The foundation has some tips on how to keep your liver healthy. Moderation is key. People are urged to not overindulge while drinking and to make healthy food choices.
The effects that alcohol has on your liver and the effects that fatty foods have on your liver, they look exactly the same.
The liver performs over 500 functions and is about the size of a football in adults.
Some Edmonton attractions have been recognized as 2 of Alberta's most popular tourist destinations. Gateway Park and Fort Edmonton Park each received top scores in RV West Magazine's 2011 Annual Reader's Choice Awards. Fort Edmonton Park won platinum for being the province's favorite historical site.
We are delighted that the RV West Association picked Fort Edmonton Park as Alberta's top attraction. We think a lot of the tourism industry. We have a lot of business from tourism, and RV West magazine is a very well-read and widely respected magazine.
Gateway Park was awarded as Alberta's favorite visitor center. This is the 5th straight year that Edmonton has won awards through RV West magazine.
Coming up after the break, could your technology be affecting your grades?
We discuss how music and cell phones can keep you and the people around you from studying effectively.
If you had your computer or laptop out and you were watching something, other students will definitely be distracted.
And find out how much more snow we can expect in the next couple of weeks.
Spring is typically one of your seasons where you get your heavier snowfalls.
Coming up in sports, I tried snowboarding.
A record amount of snowfall hit Albertans in the months of January and February, and meteorologists are predicting even more snowfall in the coming weeks of March.
With more snow on the way, Albertans are being warned to get ready for that traditional dump of snow.
Spring is typically one of your seasons where you get your heavier snowfalls. I mean, it's unusual that we had as much snow as we did through the month of January. That's, almost unheard of to have that much snowfall in the middle of the winter, and that's part of the problem.
It's been a little chilly this week. I don't know if I'm a big fan of this. Spring's supposed to be around the corner. I don't really believe that.
I hate the cold, so I hope so.
Sean, how's it going out there? It doesn't look like it's snowing anymore. That's good, at least.
Nope, that's right. It's not snowing today, and it's probably not going to be for the next couple weeks. It's pretty mild considering this time of the year, but we're still going to be well below the average. It's going to be sunny for most of the next coming week, but as we get closer to the weekend, it's going to start clouding up again. Let's take a look at the weather boards. In Calgary, it's going to be a low of -18 and a high of -5 and sunny. In Jasper, it's going to be a low of -18 and a high of -4. 40% chance of snow, so the hills are going to be great for going out there skiing. Fort McMurray's got a low of -18 and a high of -11 and sunny. Edmonton's going to be a low of -18 and a high of -13, mostly sunny. The averages for Edmonton is a low of -12 and an average high of -2. And the record high was 16 in 1889, and the record low was -34 in 1932.
Weather NAIT NewsWatch is sponsored by NR92, the station for the students.
So Kyle, Emily, I'm thinking of going out to Jasper this weekend. Are you going to come out and join me, do a little bit of snowboarding?
Well, I haven't hit the slopes for a while, so I'm in.
Definitely not. Hate the cold weather. Don't like snowboarding. Count me out.
All right, thanks a lot, Sean. These days, a person's social life can take place silently from the palm of their hand.
But with the drastic expansion in technology, students are becoming less and less eager to turn off the mic and tune into the lesson. Alicia Burke reports.
Since the first iPod was introduced, students have become so dependent on their cell phones and laptops that school has become the background noise.
75% of kids from age 12 to 17 have a cell phone, and of that, 88% text as their major form of communication, including face-to-face.
With a social life at your fingertips, it's hard enough for students to tear their eyes away from their phones for long enough to even walk down the hall. As social networking takes over, students are able to find more time to tweet about their homework than to tune out of a conversation and get the work done.
In classrooms like this, teachers are torn between the convenience of individual computers and the distractions they present. Many students find that the distractions come not from their own electronics, but from the ones of the students working around them.
If you had your computer or laptop out and you were watching something, other students will definitely be distracted. But then you can't eliminate that because, like most of us use them to study and stuff.
Many believe that music, other than classical, diverts the brain's attention and makes it impossible to retain information. In a class of 30 students, half admitted to listening to music while doing homework or studying.
Usually the TV's on in the other room.
As classes become harder to keep focused, for now, teachers have the use of programs such as Synchronize, which allows them to project lessons over all the computers in a room at any time. For NAIT NewsWatch, this is Alicia Burke.
All right.
Kevin joins us now for sports.
And I hear the Oil Kings were involved in a pretty high-scoring game this week.
Oh, if you love goals, this was the game for you. It was a barn burner. I got it coming up for you in sports. On Wednesday, the Oil Kings took to the ice against the Saskatoon Blades. The Blades are icing a lineup that features stars Braden Shen and Oilers prospect Curtis Hamilton. Too much action in this one, so we'll skip ahead to the second. Oil Kings already up 4-2, but plenty of goals still to come your way. Levi Buse comes up the left wing, sick toe drag, snipes it top shelf, makes it a 1-goal game. Now Braden Shen takes the long feed, shakes off a hitter, cuts to the inside, another top shelf. That kid's a freak. And it's tied. Christian Peltz, the Oilers prospect, gets nailed there. And it's Levi Buse again, this time with a questionable goal. I'm sure the goalie would love that one back. And now he just made up for it with that 6 save. Hickmott ties it for the Oil Kings with about halfway through the third period. Shen gets nailed along the boards, some payback for his goal earlier. But Stefan Elliott breaks the tie with 2:21 left. And just to add some salt in the wound, Stefan Derzhinsky, wow, that's a hard name to say, snipes it for some insurance. Braden Shen would add an empty netter, and the Saskatoon Blades would take it 8-5. All right, St. Albert is hosting the 2011 Esso Cup. It's the AAA Women's Midget Canadian Championship. The event runs from April 17th to 23rd. Taking part will be the 5 regional champions across Canada and the hosts, St. Albert Slash.
Opportunity to provide inspiration to all these athletes through hosting a national championship.
To play the game that they loved often meant that they would have to endure ridicule and in some cases the wrath of a society that couldn't understand why a woman would want to play a game that in their minds was not meant for girls.
The event is funded by a $25,000 grant from RBC. The Ukes badminton team are provincial champs for the third year in a row. They accomplished this by defeating the Concordia Thunder in the gold medal round.
Third year in a row, so it was a really awesome achievement for us to win provincials again this year, yeah.
This week, they traveled to Mount Allison University in Saxville, New Brunswick for nationals.
There's obviously some that are more favored than others, but I expect our goal is for everybody to medal at the national championships.
Their biggest rival at the tournament is BC Douglas. They won 5 of the last 6 events last year.
They have, like the past 5 years, they had such a good team, so we're gunning for them right now, so it'll be tough.
We'll have the results of nationals for you next week. Heading into the weekend, the NAIT Ukes basketball team is scheduled to take on Mount Royal University. The game is a semifinal of the ACAC Provincials. The team finished the season as the #1 seed. If they defeat Mount Royal, they would either face Lethbridge or Lakeland. The winner of the tournament will move on to nationals, which goes March 17th to 19th at Durham College in Oshawa, Ontario. For this week's End Zone Challenge, I hit the slopes. I'm here at Snow Valley for this week's End Zone Challenge with Erica. I have never snowboarded before, so this should be really interesting. I hope I can do okay.
You'll do fine.
I was so clueless about snowboarding, I didn't even know how the straps worked.
This is our ankle strap. That's the strap you're going to do up first when you get your foot in. And this is our toe strap.
Once I was strapped in, I had to learn the very basics. 1 foot out.
If you have your edge a little bit, so if you tip your toes up just slightly, Kevin, then you'll have a little more control over that edge where that snowbird's going.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there you go. So try to lift up your toe edge so your board is like this in the snow.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, like that. Then you'll get some grip, and then you can lift up it. There, awesome. We have a stance, and it's kind of like we make a triangle. So our head and our hands pointing at our thing.
My first run was a little rough.
Try to stand up nice and tall.
Oh, yeah. But I was eager for more.
That wasn't
So sorry. But aside from almost hurting little kids, by the end, I wasn't half bad.
Watch your heel edge.
closer. That's this week's End Zone Challenge.
Well, Snats, it looks like you actually have some skill out there. Maybe you should come snowboarding with me and Sean.
I guess so. I mean, you saw the Biffs, though. And I like to take out little kids for some reason.
Yeah, I'm glad I won't be there. I want to keep myself safe.
All right, thanks, Snats.
No problem.
Coming up after the break, the city's homeless are giving some much-needed warmth.
The Hope Mission sets out to help the homeless get through the hard winter months.
Every time I see them drive by, I wave them down.
Coming up in entertainment, I tell you about the Yuki Gas and Snow Battle.
Hair for NAIT NewsWatch personalities, sponsored by Carriel Salon and Spa.
Winter can be a hard time for people living on the city streets.
And this week, we did our part to help make the cold a little more bearable. With the winter weather as chilly as it was this week, the city's homeless found themselves searching for ways to keep warm. Luckily for them, the Hope Mission's ministry van was cruising the streets and, as always, handing out much-needed supplies. We joined Ed and Trudy Madge and helped them hand out bagged lunches, hot chocolate, and other supplies such as socks and blankets.
The van is part of the Man Down project, started 8 years ago by an Edmonton police officer.
Absolutely. For a homeless person, I've been homeless for more than 1 year. And every time I see them drive by, I wave them down, they'll stop the next block or they'll pull over. I know most of the people that, like Ed and his wife.
It's the only van of its kind in the world, running 365 days a year and 24 hours a day. The van helps over 950 people a year, traveling all over Edmonton. So I hear Andy went and checked out some comedians.
Oh yeah, he's also going to have a preview of Rango coming up in entertainment.
Why'd the chicken cross the road? To get to amateur night, of course. And comedy is more alive in our city than ever.
The Alberta cast of Wannabe Jersey Shore in the back.
Every 8 o'clock on Mondays at the comic strip located in West Edmonton Mall, comedians hit up the stage.
Now he's drinking for a whole other reason.
Some are newcomers to the game and others are comic veterans like Lars Calahoo, who has been doing it for some time now.
Funny because I was watching you and then I saw Ryan watching me.
Yeah, 8 years, May 18th. I think most people remember the very day, the first time they went up, and mine was on White Ave.
And if anyone watching this is curious about trying it, maybe you can find some common ground with newcomer Ben Prue.
I started because I was dating a girl I hated, and I always wanted to try stand up, but I never thought I'd do it. And then it was an excuse to get away from her. So I was like, oh, I'll try stand up.
And if you're interested in seeing some amateur awesomeness, the comic strip is every Monday at 8. Sherwood Park's Laugh Shop is Wednesdays at 7:30. Century Casino's Yuck Yucks is every Thursday at 7:30. And the Druid is on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock. So if you're bored on some cold winter nights, it's a good way to warm up the funny bone. Even I gave it a shot.
Oh, here's another gut buster. I find that...
Hey, you know that kid that always wanted to make snowball rules during a snowball fight? Well, it looks as though someone got their wish, and they've made it better than ever.
ラウンドのプレーできますんで、本当にどう攻めてくるかっていうのはよくもう。
What you're seeing is Yuki Gassen. Originating in Japan, it's essentially a mixture between paintball and a snowball fight, and it looks as though it's coming to our fair city, but it's made a few pit stops along the way.
Into Finland, Norway, Sweden, a lot of the Scandinavian Europe countries. It's somehow randomly found its way to Australia up in the ski hills, and then this year it's in North America for the first time.
And Yuki Gassen's battleground happens to be at our very Fort Edmonton Park. This year's tournament is for 18 years and up, but the next year they hope to do an under-18 tournament for the kids. The event has been running all weekend, so if you want to see something completely new to our continent, try Yuki Gassen. You might think you have a crazy uncle, but you clearly haven't met Uncle Val.
Ode to Tea by Valentine Reardigan.
An Evening with Uncle Val is a one-man show starring Andy Jones, a professional writer and actor for over 30 years. The one-man show is about Uncle Val, a 70-year-old retired fisherman that just moved to the big city of St. John's. Jones has written 5 critically acclaimed one-man shows, and Uncle Val is included. But why see this show?
I have a lot of props and costumes and changes, and I do different characters during the evening, whereas generally I tend to do slightly more of a straight-talking, almost stand-up style. So it's slightly different that way.
An Evening with Uncle Val runs at the TransAlta Arts Barn from March 3rd to 12th, and tickets are $23 for adults, $19 for students and seniors. This past Wednesday at the Jubilee Auditorium, Edmonton Public Schools showed what they got when it came to the art of music. Music, the Rhythm of Life, was the 47th annual event where over 830 students performed in front of a packed theater. This included a new addition to the event, the Jasper Place School Rebel Thunder Drumline, which had the place booming. They performed not only to raise school spirit, but were also part of this year's Grey Cup Parade. Hey, do you love chameleons and do you fancy yourself a cowboy and or girl? Then you'll love the new Nickelodeon and Paramount movie Rango.
Who exactly are you?
Name's Rango.
It has an all-star cast, including Johnny Depp, Isla Fisher, and Bill Nye as Rattlesnake Jake. Johnny Depp is once again teaming up with Pirates of the Caribbean director Gore Verbinski to create this new animation film. This movie is about the goofy lost chameleon named, you guessed it, Rango. He finds himself in a small town where he ends up becoming the new sheriff.
Rango, people have to believe in something. Pick it up. Your destiny awaits.
But is forced to contend against bandits and outlaws, and hopefully he becomes the hero the town so desperately needs.
Believe in that there sign. For as long as it hangs there, we got hope.
Rango is a fun family film, and it came out March 4th, so grab your kids, grab your significant other, because this one should be a gooder.
And that was Rango. Hopefully Gore Verbinski and Johnny Depp don't kind of bomb it like they did with the last Pirates movie, in my opinion. And yeah, I might just go see some snowball action this weekend. That's all for entertainment. See you later.
Thanks a lot, Andy.
Well, that movie definitely looks very cute, and it has Johnny Depp in it, so I'm there.
I'm actually going to try to find where Andy's doing his next stand-up comedy and go check that out. Anyways, that is all the time we have for tonight. You can check us out at naitnewswatch.ca.
Have a good night.